Hello and welcome to TV Chef Fantasy League. I'm your host and commissioner, Mike Cabell, and with me are my co-hosts Sierra Kato and Iffy Wadiway.
Hello.
I feel like I said that very fast, and it's because subconsciously I know we got to go fast.
Ooh.
We decided just before recording that fuck it, we're just gonna smush together episodes 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, we're entering Top Chef season.
Yes.
There's also going to be America's Culinary Cup. There's a lot going on.
yeah.
And it's not like the people are clamoring for us to cover Next Gen Chef, a show that is over 6 months old at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way that they cut the show, too, it's so like cliffhangery. So it kind of
Yeah.
flows into itself.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking we get to that finale.
Right,
you know?
yeah. So we're going to cover both episode 7 and the finale, episode 8, today.
Yes.
We're going to get through it. We'll decide who's going to draft first, second, and third for Top Chef. That's really all we care about. We just want to get to Top Chef. Okay, so let's just get through this as quickly as possible because we got a lot to cover. Episode 7, we start at the top. Joaquin very sad about losing a pin. Nikki says she's nervous because she has no fine dining experience. Again, no points there because it's not in reference to a specific technique or dish.
Right.
It's just like, I don't cook nice.
Too broad.
Yeah, in the same way that Joaquin and Andrew do. Okay, we're down to our final 6 chefs. This is the last test before the finals. The test is to execute a fine dining entree, highlighting your strongest food memories, and also to make a souffle. I feel like they couldn't decide what they wanted the challenge to be, and they're like, do both.
Souffle. Yeah.
The souffle could be sweet or savory. 6 hours of prep time, 2 hours for service. As Carlton says, that's an enormous amount of time to make 2 dishes. So it's got to be really good. And at the end of this, they're sending home half the chefs. We're going down from 6 to 3.
Yeah,
Crazy.
they love cutting it in half. They love it. I don't know if they ran out of time or they just thought it was
I know.
exciting.
I'm like, was it always built in?
Right.
It's hard to know because the rules are so willy-nilly.
I mean, yeah, they're like us. They're like, well, let's just cut the left.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're in a glass house throwing stones. We're like, we don't care. Just make the last 2 episodes one episode.
Get rid of some of these.
Our guest judges are Kwame from Top Chef, who we know, we love.
It's a good one.
CIA grad.
And a young
Memoirs for a
one.
black chef.
Yeah.
That's his book.
And London was like, I actually just applied to work at his restaurant.
That was
Another-
amazing.
Yeah.
And then that's when he was like, well, this is your application.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Better be good.
I mean, what a great way to like get the full like accountability for like
Yeah.
yes or no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pretty good.
The other guest judge is Danielle Baloud, who has an honorary doctorate from the CIA. Andrew has already worked for him because he worked at Restaurant Danielle before he worked at Per Se.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something that one of our, I don't remember if they're European or if they just knew about it. One of our Potter Pans wrote in a while ago saying like what they do in other countries for cooking competition shows is like if there's a conflict of interest, like I cooked at your restaurant, you can't judge that contest.
Yeah, I found that a little.
We should be doing that.
Because it just is like, and then it's like, is that even fun for him? Like for the contestant, where it's like,
You're
it's
just
either more
cooking for your old
pressure,
boss.
or it's also like, well, I've already cooked for him, so I'd like
Right.
to branch out my network a
Yeah.
little bit here. You know, a little strange.
I think there's just the element that the reason you would call out the conflict of interest is so that you wouldn't put them in a position of potentially going easier
Right,
on the
putting their
person.
thumb on the scale
and I
a
think
little.
the American cuisine culture doesn't have that.
Interesting.
I think that he would love to shit on his ex-employee and be like, "Oh yes, I can see why you're no longer with me."
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
That is a really
I
good
know.
point. They tend to be like,
Yeah.
they tend to be like, actually, nothing you make could be good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm treating you
Are you
like
sure
my.
you left, or did we fire you?
Yeah.
Because this is abysmal.
Ooh.
That's good. That's a great French
Yeah,
accent
yeah, good.
for Danielle Baloud.
Yeah, I was doing Tim Curry.
Oh, that is good. Okay, that's a good Tim Curry.
That works.
Pretty good. All right, let's blast through these. Joaquin decided to make a filet petivier with a rainbow shard, pickled mustard seeds, and cauliflower
This
puree.
is what I was talking about on the last episode when he was very confidently making it, and he was like, I've made these souffles before, and everyone's taking so much time.
Right.
Walks away, and then everyone comes up and goes, "These
Where's
look
your
like
souffle?
shit."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were looking at it in the oven,
Yeah,
which would
yeah.
immediately make me take it out and start over. Like if I saw
Yes.
all of them crowding it the way they did, I'd be like, "Oh, I must have messed up."
Well, also the other thing is that we know at this point in the competition that Joaquin is bad at baking. He's
Right.
failed 2 baking things in a row.
He almost went home.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, the next challenge is to bake us a souffle. You'd think he would practice, but instead he's like, nah, I got it. And it's like, dog, you do not got it.
Pretty surprising. Plus, souffles are notoriously like just it could be the different temperature of the outside. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah.
It's not as consistent. So
I will say, there's the common thing that we know about souffle, and because of like 90s early aughts television, I thought I'd be interacting with way more souffles in my life than I did.
Yeah, they
that
made
was
it-
always
Oh
a
my
plot
God.
point
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like, you gotta be quiet, they're making a souffle.
yeah,
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that
I
was
was
so
totally thinking.
often, and
Mandy Moore is always waiting on her souffle.
Yeah.
Get
It
her
feels
outta
like, you know
there.
how like John Mulaney has a joke about how he always thought that quicksand would be a
Yeah.
bigger thing as
Oh
an adult.
yeah.
That's the culinary equivalent. It's like, I really thought we'd be eating more souffles as
Right.
adults.
Well, and the funniest thing about that John Mulaney joke is it is so true. Like,
It's so
that was
true.
a genuine, legitimate fear of mine of being like, one day I might go into quicksand.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
because you felt it, and it was like, okay, then you make sure you grab for like, a rope, not a snake,
Right.
because you might have a snake as well.
Yeah.
So many options there.
Yeah, snakes are always hanging out over quicksand.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Okay, so Joaquin, and I'm bummed because Joaquin was like, I'm going to make a corn souffle with a lime and chili mornay. And I was like, oh, I get it. It's like elotes.
Yeah.
Corn and lime and
Oh.
chili. I'm like, I could fuck
Yeah.
hard with that.
Yeah.
And he messed it up.
Yeah.
He also messed up the Petivier. They did not like it. He knew cutting it open, the steak was over.
Right.
And they were like, he didn't do the temperatures right. So the souffle was bad. The Petivier was bad. Pretty apparent that he failed this challenge.
Yeah, they said something about like if you're gonna make that pativier, it has to be like all these different temperatures. But it was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
He swung for the fences, but
Yeah.
he really didn't nail
Yeah,
it.
yeah, did not nail it. Courtney made a chicken skin ballotine with a rice milk cream, pickled charred leeks, and a green goddess sauce. Tells a story about how she was talking to her mom. Mom's like, I'm having chicken and rice. She's like, that's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make a good version of it.
I love those. I always love when it's like, yep, simplistic home, but I'm gonna elevate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That always makes for the best stuff because there's like soul in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's done that a few times where it's like everybody just really, it's like this should be too simple, but it's
Yeah.
like, wow, knocked it out of the park, you know?
Yeah. So it's the two things. One is like part of the challenge is like, tell us a food memory, tell us your story. And she
Right.
absolutely does that. She does that every single time. And then two, they also talk about the technical difficulty of a chicken ballotine, which is like, you have to remove the skin without poking holes in it, wrap it back up. Like I remember Kelsey during judging was like, she did everything you could possibly do with a chicken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So high technical difficulty. She did have to pivot. She was going to do rice milk in the ISI, but of course the ISI doesn't work because it
It's
never
so
works.
funny how that company hasn't gone out of business with how
No,
many
yeah.
times the product has messed up.
The market
on-
is ripe for someone to make a good working version of that
Yeah.
and market it to
Yeah.
chefs.
Notorious.
Anyway, they really liked it. Even the pivot was the worst part. Her like rice pudding thing she ended up putting out, but they still really liked it. She made a sweet orange souffle with an orange creamsicle sauce and an orange brulee. They liked that too. Very clear. She did a great job. Courtney crushed it out of the park. Andrew, he says he's never made a souffle, so that is points there for having never made a thing. He attempted it once, successfully made it 0 times. He's like, most people make them in culinary school, and he didn't go to culinary school.
Right.
He did make a duck breast with a foie gras croquette, Belgian endive, and pickled apricots. It was perfect. Everyone's like, the
Yeah.
technique is flawless, of course. I do want to point out, no mention of story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think
Did
they
anyone
cut
else think that was
out?
weird?
Oh, yeah. He didn't even like present one. Yeah.
I'm like, maybe they edited it out.
that's what I was wondering.
They have to have, because part of the challenge was tell us a food memory. They didn't touch on it one bit. They're just like, he technically proficiently prepared a duck breast.
Yeah, because part of me feels like they must have cut it out because that's his whole thing is like he doesn't have that
Right.
kind of singular voice, and I feel like they would have gotten on him if
Yeah.
he hadn't had that. So I assumed we missed it somehow.
Yeah. What are you looking up?
I'm looking up why do ISIs never work?
What is the internet saying?
Well, the shitty AI overview says that it often fails to work due to improper technique, such as overshaking, causing broken runny cream, using warm ingredients, or improper charging. And I'm like,
No. If your product is that susceptible to
Right.
that many things going wrong, design a better product.
Why
Yeah.
do you have to be so perfect at shaking
Yeah.
it? Like,
Yeah.
Get out of here.
yeah, this
handle
is,
some heat.
Yeah, this is from their website, the ISI website, where it's like, Is Ice Eye Whipper not dispensing cream? Here's why.
Because you suck.
Right.
Get out of here,
You're
ISI.
the problem, not us.
Yeah.
We're perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Andrew does a chocolate souffle. Kwame points it out. It is raw. He just spoons liquid out of his souffle.
I mean, I'd still eat it.
Okay, so look, we're gonna do this all in one episode. I at this point, I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah.
turned against Andrew, and I want to just point out at this point in the competition, he has failed
Sure.
because I'm not hearing a story.
Sure.
Maybe that's the editing, but I'm not
Yeah.
hearing a story. And his souffle, which is one half the challenge. The challenge is make
Yeah.
a fine dining entree and a souffle. His souffle is raw. It is not cooked. That's bad.
Yeah.
To me, he has failed both halves of this challenge.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
We'll put a pin in it.
But before you go on, where did Andrew go? Wait,
What do you mean?
is Andrew one of the CIA students?
No, he didn't go to culinary school.
Right.
Okay.
But he did. Yeah. But he's still
But he
done like all
cooked-
that fine dining.
Yeah, he cooked
per
at
se.
restaurant Boulud, per se.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that
He's a
could
New
have
York
been
fine
his
dining chef.
Interesting.
Trial by fire.
Okay, Nikki made a pan-seared scallop with duxelles, caramelized cauliflower puree, truffles, toasted hazelnut. She talks about how when she was a kid, she always got mushroom soup at the fancy restaurants with her dad. Okay, I had a random stray thought. Oh, I should have pulled the photo. My phone's away. There's a shot in here, and this is just for the photography nerds in the house. They fucked up the beauty shot. You know how there's always a close-up beauty
Yeah.
shot?
Yeah.
Way underexposed. It was like pitch black, and you could tell they like tried to save the shot in post. And I'm like, just don't show us. You edited out Andrew's story. Just edit out the beauty shot. I don't need to see your weird bad shot where he like left a lens cap on or whatever.
Yeah, maybe the reason they edited out Andrew's story is like, I have this uncle. It could be he's kind of helped fund me in my career. He has an island. And
Yeah, Uncle Jeffrey. We all
he's
loved
a-
Uncle Jeffrey.
He was really holding me down.
Oof. Yeah. Well, that would be tough to keep in.
It
I
would be
guess, at
tough.
this
It would be
point,
tough.
but-
Yeah. They did like Nikki's dish. They said it was seasoned great, cooked beautifully, but you could do it in 30 to 45 minutes on a Tuesday night at home. So it is not
Yikes.
an 8-hour dish.
Damn.
She made a Mexican hot chocolate souffle. Somehow hers is also liquid. They're eating it at the table, and you could see her face fall
Yeah.
because they're scooping it out in front of her. Kwame said, mine was still cold at the bottom. Which I'm like, Jesus, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on her because she did know.
She's
how
such
to-
a good baker.
yeah.
Everyone's like, this is going to be perfect. She cries, so that's points for tears right there. So to be clear, I just want to say this. She performed the same as Andrew. His entree was better, was more technically proficient.
Yes.
But she's effectively one notch behind Andrew because she told a story, she failed the souffle. Her souffle was the exact same as Andrew's souffle.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Okay. Ilka made an
Seems like we're
olive
building
oil.
a case
Yeah, I know. I'm really I'm a
Exhibit B.
lawyer. Yeah, exactly. Ilka made an olive oil poached cod with corn, tomatoes, mussels, and fish scrap cappelletti. She went backpacking with her boyfriend through Europe last summer, and she made a tradition with her family where every Christmas they fold pasta together. So she made cappelletti. They said it was well executed. Kwame loved the different textures, and he was like, it feels like she's fighting for $500,000. She did a savory souffle, cheddar Gruyere, and chive souffle with an Old Bay butter. Okay, she was one of the ones who was like, I have experience with souffles.
Yeah.
But the last place she worked, she made souffles in a pan. She tried the pan souffle, not with these utensils. She was like, the ring molds are too tall. I'm like, they don't have shorter ring molds at the CIA. Get a different ring mold. You know what I mean?
Damn.
That method doesn't work. She pivots to a traditional oven souffle. Everyone loves it. She still pulled it off. That's a pass. They liked her entree. They liked her souffle.
Yeah, one of the rare
Yeah.
souffles.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
worked.
So to me, I'm like, at this point, Courtney nailed it. Ilka nailed it.
Okay.
London made a salmon. Okay, this is weird. Salmon with mushrooms, mixed squash, mussels, and a Thai sauce. This is where we saw London's like chaos, where he's like, I'm cooking 100 things, and we're gonna see how it fits together later.
Decide later.
This gave me so much anxiety.
It's very London. Like I feel like he has a lot of ideas, so
Yeah.
he's kind of like, we kind of saw. I guess we've seen that people do that before when they might decide because it's like you might cook something wrong. But he was doing so many different things that it was kind of
he
like,
was like,
normally
I
it's
have
maybe
4 sauces
two.
going. I'm gonna see which sauce works. And I'm
Yeah.
like, 4 sauces is a lot of work.
Yeah, I feel like maybe 2 at most.
Yeah.
So and yeah, it's tough because also, you know, it could be we love a mad genius in the kitchen, so there's
Sure.
also that he's definitely had those wins before.
Yeah. But this time it was like he reached the end of the 6-hour prep period and he's like, I still don't know what I'm making. And I'm like, that makes my butthole tighten. You know what I mean? So he took a big swing. They said they liked it, but it should have had more seasoning for something that you're calling a Thai sauce. You know what I mean?
Right, that was their big thing. They're like, it should have been super intense and flavorful.
Yeah.
marketing.
Kwame did say, because London was like, I applied to your restaurant. Kwame was like, I'd be happy to have you in my kitchen. I did try and look it up afterward.
Yeah.
Right. Did he follow through?
It does not appear that London currently works for Kwame, but he is bouncing around Brooklyn doing his own thing. So he's doing fine. I did not see any evidence of him having ever worked for Kwame.
Maybe, yeah. Is there.
Oh, is your mic out?
Yeah, we lost you, Iffy.
Oh, no, careful. Oh,
There we
that
go.
sounds good.
Interesting,
Okay,
Kwame.
there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Interesting.
So do we think he just said it on camera to not
Yeah,
say
yeah.
me?
Well, Kwame did also
Or-
say, like, at the end of the challenge, he was like, I'd be happy to have any of these chefs in my kitchen.
Right,
So I
right,
think he was
like,
just being sort of
well,
magnanimous,
Yeah,
you know what
can't
I mean?
hire all of them.
Any of these fat.
But still, I do think.
But me too. Any of these chefs.
Yeah, any of
I would be
them.
happy to. Would you? So you're gonna hire me? I would be happy.
I'd be happy to,
Me
if
too.
presented the opportunity.
I would be happy.
Ooh,
Okay,
that's-
so I got hired. I said,
I said I
I
would
would
be.
Maybe, sure.
but
Oh,
there's a lot
somebody's
of
calling me over
red
there.
tape.
I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go.
Oh,
My plane's leaving.
Sorry, that's Nancy Silverton. We're talking about pizzas.
Yeah.
London did make a rhubarb souffle, and they said it was great. Great. Ilka does the Ecolab promo. That's points there. Once again, fuck Ecolab. They support ICE.
Boo.
I learned something, which is that the instructor was like, the souffle should be the height of the ramekin. It should come out like if your ramekins like an inch
Oh,
tall.
double
the
it.
souffle, yeah. And I was like,
Yeah.
that feels too tall to me.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, I also was surprised by that.
Yeah. And they also said the judges can select one additional chef for an additional pin of excellence, which again feels like you're making up the rules as you go along.
God damn it. Yeah, they
Why
freaking-
didn't any of the other chefs or
These
judges
pins
get to? Yeah,
matter.
exactly. Okay, our little rat session. They talked about each of the chefs individually. They said that London had no clue what he was going to cook, and the dish showed that. Souffle was not the worst. Andrew's souffle was terrible, but his entree was flawless. And they specifically said, Carlton said, Andrew's food needs more soul. No story.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Ilka, she had their favorite souffle of the day. She was focused. She had calm energy. I'm gonna count that as points for the front runner. During the
Yeah.
rat session,
Yeah.
the instructors are like, she did the best.
Slayed.
She did both well.
Yeah, exactly. Joaquin, they were disappointed in because he didn't practice souffle. He doesn't know how to bake. He struggled with it, and he chose a pastry-heavy entree. The Petivier is wrapped in. It's like a Wellington. So like,
Yeah.
you're doing 2 baked elements. You're bad at baking. You're not practicing one of them. What are you doing?
Right.
Didn't nail it. Nikki, they think, played it safe, very simple. She executed it well, but it's not fine dining. Again, a 30-minute dish. And her souffle was raw. Courtney, they said, was focused. This is where they said she did everything you could possibly do with the chicken. The rice was the only part that was not excellent.
Okay.
And so because of the rice criticism, I'm going to say that prevents her from getting that point, that front runner point.
Oh, okay.
Because they did have criticism.
Sure.
Okay, and this is where I want to insert just my personal opinion. Ilka and Courtney clearly passed, right?
Yeah.
Joaquin clearly failed.
Yeah.
Nikki and Andrew both served liquid souffles.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you compare their entrees, I guess Andrew would win.
Right.
But London was the middle of the pack on both courses, right? His
Right.
dish was fine. His dessert was fine. He didn't serve a liquid souffle. So why isn't London going to the finale?
I think, okay, here's what it felt like. They were weighing the entree like way more because.
But why?
Yeah. Because
The
they were,
challenge
like,
is
the
make an entree
souffle-
and a souffle. And if the souffle doesn't matter, then why would anyone put effort into the souffle? If you can get to the finale by fucking up your souffle completely,
Yeah.
why is anyone doing anything with the souffle?
I think it's the fact that and through this show they've kind of done the thing of like building their idea of people and then
Yeah.
going off of that. So if it's like this person's really good at baking, and they fucked up the baking, that's way worse than if this person's never made that and they fucked it up. I
Yeah,
feel
but they
they've done
like
that a
London,
couple
and
times.
London's food was fine. The only knock against London was like you're a little chaotic in the kitchen,
Right,
but if
right.
they're
I
like
think
the food's
they-
good,
I think they didn't like that, huh?
Didn't they also say like we're gonna consider everything that they've done up to
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point?
yeah, that's
Okay,
And
true.
I feel
there
like
was
when
that.
you add that in, then it kind of does balance these scales in the way that you see.
Yeah, I think there's also a little bit of the look. It's Danielle Balut judging one of his former employees.
I got to put him through.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, for sure. That probably tips it.
I'm not saying Andrew's not a good chef. I'm just saying the challenge was to make an entree, a fine dining entree with a story and a souffle. He did not tell a story, and he did not make a souffle. So
That's
I'm like,
true. The story
how-
thing is pretty
What is
big.
happening here? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Well, yeah, I do feel like if the reality is there was a little bit of a story and they cut it because of some technical thing or the lens kept this on
yeah,
or whatever.
Uncle Jeffrey.
Then like yeah, they're like, ooh, but that was a good story, but we can't include that. Then that might solve the missing piece here. The other possibility is I just felt the way that they were like so blown away by his entree. They're like, we can't send him home for that because he nailed that fine dining thing, and so many people failed their entree or just like didn't hit the mark with their entree, and that has more components than the souffle.
I guess.
Then maybe that's why, and they're just like, well, we can't, like, I couldn't even cook this entree this way, so we got to send him forward.
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know. I take umbrage with it, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They issue 3 pins to the folks who are going on to the finale. It's, of course, Courtney, Ilka, and Andrew. Weirdly, only Andrew gives a little speech. I don't know if they all gave a little speech and they just cut him out.
Sure. What? Yeah, I didn't really notice.
It was
that,
just
I guess.
quick. They were like, Andrew, congrats on your pin. He goes like, wow, thanks. This really is like a sign of my personal growth. And it's just like, okay,
All
well,
right.
we don't need, you know.
Yeah.
No one cries, so no tier points there. Danielle Balloon and Kwame give their extra pin to Courtney, which gives her an advantage in the finale,
Oh, right.
Yep.
I guess. Okay, and then this might be an editing thing. Who knows when they filmed the talking heads, but they insert Andrew doing a little talking head where he's like, I always knew I was going to be in the finale. But he doesn't acknowledge the fact that he's in by like the skin of his teeth. He served a liquid
Yeah.
souffle, and I'm like, this is either poor timing or poor editing, or he is like blissfully unaware of his own shortcomings.
Look, hubris, you know? He was like, I know I'm the best.
I hate that though. It makes him look
should've-
like a villain.
They should have, because it's a huge plot point to be like, oh my god, this guy that everybody thought was gonna make it all the way, no problems, like almost fucked it up at the end. So they should
Yeah.
have made it a
They
bigger
should've.
thing
Yeah,
where,
I agree.
oh, we don't know, maybe we do a cook-off, or
I
I don't
agree.
know, because it was, yeah, you're right. It really minimizes the importance of the souffle, and it does
Yeah.
kind of insult everybody who put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I don't know what that was. It could just be, yeah, he's like, they're like, stop being humble. Let's get you in there.
Okay. We have a whole nother episode to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's do the scoring for this episode.
Yes.
The pins of excellence go to Courtney, Andrew, and Ilka for 2 points apiece. Ilka is highlighted as a front runner by the instructors for 1 point. Nikki cries, that's a half point. Ecolab promo. Who did I say that
Ilka
was?
did it.
Ilka did it for 1 point. And the I've never made this point goes to Andrew for a half point because he's never made a souffle before. So at the end of episode 7, I get 0 points because I have no one left on the board. Sierra, you get 2.5 points if you get 6.5 points.
Whoa.
At this point, the total so far, I am stuck in last place with 13.5 points. Sierra, you're in second with 23. Iffy, you're in first with 25.5.
Ooh.
I was very curious how this jump happens. Very, very curious because I am going into the final with 2 chefs.
Yeah,
Two
yeah,
chefs.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Two
yeah,
chefs to
but
your one.
we're drafting sous chefs,
Yes, that is true.
and I have a
Yeah.
winner in my hands. Perhaps no spoilers.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say you can. I think you can spoil
Yeah.
it.
yeah. We're about to talk about it. It's okay. I think that's what the big jump was. We'll find out. The finale. The challenge is to make a themed
Ooh.
4-course meal for 70 diners, and to incorporate personal stories.
Oh.
Highlight, underscore, bold. They keep hitting it. They're like, tell us your POV. I just want to point that out for everyone. That is part of the challenge.
Yes.
6 hours of prep, 2 hours to serve. The big judges table has a collective 13 Michelin stars at the table. The president of the CIA, Dr. Tim Ryan, is there. Thomas Keller is there, Andrew's current boss.
Yeah, so it's like double, like
double
back-to-back boss
conflict
babies.
of interest.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
but they are the
stinky.
best. That's the thing. It's like they are like
I
considered to be
guess.
these big judge. You know,
But
they've been on all the
recuse yourself
shows.
if you have a current employee.
Especially if there's only 3 left. That is a
Yeah.
little crazy.
stinky.
I don't like it.
Stinks to me.
Anne Burrell is up there. R.I.P. We love Anne Burrell.
Yeah, they
Yes.
dedicated the episode to her.
Okay, the sous chef draft. Courtney's advantage is she gets to pick first, and then she decides the order of how the other 2 are going to pick. Courtney drafts Nikki because she's good at pastry, and Courtney's nervous about her dessert, and Javonica. Andrew picks London and Sydney. How do you guys feel about this?
Well, okay, so here's the thing that made the Courtney advantage a little bit better was that when she got to also pick who would pick next,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So then she didn't pick Andrew, she picked Ilka, which is good because I guess she probably saw Andrew as being. They probably both kind of were like looking at Andrew and trying to
he's
kind
the
of
competition.
So then when Ilka went, she picked
Joaquin.
knowing to take it away
Specifically,
from
yeah,
Andrew.
she was like, I know Andrew wants Joaquin. I'm taking Joaquin.
Which was smart because
that was
Joaquin
smart.
is good. And
But here's the problem. She follows it up by drafting Abby.
I know. Double whammy.
Girl, what?
She
Yeah, and
already
she
got
did-
screwed by Abby
And
before.
she,
Yeah.
and she did it because we're friends. Come on, dog.
She's she's been screwed
I know.
by Abby before, and she's like, I love her attention to detail. I'm like, were we watching the same challenge? What attention to
I
detail?
mean, there is something like because I kind of if I put myself in her shoes, and it's like you have one person that you just mesh with a lot better, and you know socially.
But you've already done one challenge where she sandbags you the whole time. And
yeah,
everyone
but
throughout
did
the whole
she-
season has
I
been like,
wonder if-
Abby is notoriously
so
slow.
I know, hilarious. I wonder if like she didn't see that because she was in the back and she just had no idea what the heck was going on in front, and then like later,
I guess,
you know, she's
man.
like, oh well, I thought it was because I was folding the dough. I don't know, but you know, I can kind of picture where you're like, this person's just like my closest friend, so we'll be able to at least correct from what we did in the past, and then things get crazy, and then Abby unfortunately
I don't know,
doubles
man.
down on screwing her over.
Spoiler alert, they didn't.
Yeah. Okay, which leaves okay, the thing about Andrew is I'm like, London, I get. London's great. Sydney, I mean, we see it in the edit, needs a little bit of corralling, a little bit of
'cause it was-
wrangling.
at that point, it was only Khan or who was the final?
The other girl.
She was out pretty early, so
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
he just doesn't know either of them at all. Versus
I
Sydney went a little bit
guess.
further.
Carla's the other
Carla,
one.
yeah, they like went out right away. You know,
Well, no,
after the
'cause-
big half
yeah,
culling, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Kind of, and so maybe he just didn't get to know him. So he's like, I have just no idea who you are. And then you know, Sydney's a little bit of a wild card, but he at least knows him better
Yeah,
personally.
I guess I'm just like,
But
Connor and
it
Carla
is-
were both right there.
It is, yeah, it is. Well, clearly it was a little risky, but I don't know. I mean, he made it further than Con and Carla, so it's kind of like a wild card of like, how good are they, or was it a fluke that they got knocked out?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
were they actually going
That's
to be
true. That's
causing
true.
other problems for him?
All these picks are fine picks. The biggest
Mm-hmm.
one is I'm just like, why Abby?
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean,
And it does bite her in the ass.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
it
let's
does.
talk about their
Yeah,
menus.
so rough.
Everyone basically does the same theme, which is just like, here's my food memories, which whatever. Andrew's 4 courses are a fennel pollen crusted fairy tale eggplant, heirloom tomatoes and summer squash, and a vinaigrette made from the blossoms. A butter poached halibut, palm puree, and chicken fried leeks. His 3rd course is Dad's fajitas, a grilled New York strip, sweet onion soubise, and a pepper gastrique. And he titles his last course Comfort, which is cornbread, tres leches gâteau, peach marmalade, and toasted pecans inspired by his mom. Ilka does, I'm gonna fuck up the pronunciation of this, Bry Bruges.
Yep, sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a tart. It's a tart
Yum.
with cheddar cheese.
Burnt tart.
Aw.
Burnt tart. Okay, we'll get there. Peach chutney, tomato, and onion. A red rice risotto with shrimp, a braised short rib, potato pave, and a salad lyonnaise, and a ricotta cake with lemon mascarpone and black truffle. And Courtney's menu is okay. I think she titled all of them. I only caught some of the titles. The first course is a watermelon gazpacho, fried anchovies, and a pickled watermelon rind. The second course was titled Waste Not. It's her carrot dish because it was the first job she had was a carrot station. So it's just grilled carrot, carrot chili, and a duca spice. Her third course was called G's Up. A seared ribeye, bone marrow grit cake, and a smoked oyster cream. It's her play on surf and turf, a tribute to her grandma. Grandma's G's up. And a brown butter biscuit with charred peaches and a roasted corn semifredo, her take on a peaches in cream. Okay, let's talk about the cook. Who do we want to talk about first?
Well, Ilka, if we want to
Ilka.
get into this tart situation.
Hurt burnt.
This is a burnt tart.
And when it was burning, there were so many people next to it where it's like, y'all didn't smell that. Y'all didn't want to be like, it smell like.
My biggest thing is that Abby did not look apologetic.
Exactly,
in the
I know that
slightest.
was rough. She was like, "Well, I didn't." Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And it was
like,
like,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you really screwed this
You
up for her.
absolutely took $500,000 out of her mouth.
Yeah.
It was so painful and like
Because the other thing is they were
Yeah.
day one of prep. She's like, these tarts are perfect. I can't wait to serve them. All we have to do is reheat them.
No.
And then the reheating is what did it. It's not like they overcooked. They were perfect. She's like, they just need to warm up.
in a low temperature
Right,
oven.
but the oven was cranked up to 450, and Abby is like, oh.
Yeah, well, I put it.
I feel.
Oh,
dude,
no!
I know it really feels like Abby did that on purpose. Like Abby.
You
knew
think
that
so?
she-
You think it was sabotage?
Oh yeah, I think Abby's like, well, I'm losing, and
Oh my god, I'm
And
dragging
like-
this person down with
like
me.
because I feel like if we go back to when Abby was kicked, I
It's
imagine-
a slow burn.
I
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
Abby probably felt like Ilka was going home, and then because we all thought,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
clearly Ilka.
Because Ilka was like, I'm the team leader. I should go down. And they're
Right.
like, thank you for falling on your sword. Abby,
And
get
by
out
the
of
way,
here.
it's
Yeah.
actually Abby.
and this is the final
Whoa,
act
this
where
is-
Abby's like, oh, oops.
Oh my god.
Oops.
That's like quite a theory. That's so funny because I forgot that. Yeah, they were kind of
Yeah.
up against each other, and maybe Ilka didn't read
Yeah.
the feeling of like you screwed me over or whatever. You
Yeah.
got to stay in, and I should have been there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow, I didn't even consider
And
sabotage.
that is like, early 20s behavior.
Yeah. Lacking
Next-gen behavior.
grace and forgiveness. Yeah.
Well, I like to believe. Yeah, hopefully that isn't the case. Abby is a private chef. I guess we have a gripe against private chefs here on the show.
Well, Abby, you can send me a private DM and explain yourself.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I mean, Abby's my team, so I like to believe that, it's all,
and who won?
It's all honest.
Not Abby, that's for sure.
Yeah, but just
Yeah.
knew
But
in
you
the
still get the
future-
winner. It's okay.
Oh, sure,
knew
yeah.
in the future that
But yeah, I
she'll
mean,
be on your team.
just the fact that, yeah, I hope that it's not as cutthroat as we're making it out to be. But yes, I do think it was a little bit of like, maybe it's like she fucked up. She knows she fucked up, and it's that moment of like, wait, if I apologize, I'm gonna freak her out even more.
It's
I
like
don't want
how
Ilka to
your
be-
insurance company advises you if you get into a car accident, you're not
Oh my
supposed to admit
God.
fault.
Right? Because it's like then they can use that in court.
Right.
So don't say
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Even if you want to. So yeah, maybe she felt like I don't want to make it worse. So I'm just gonna be like, yeah, well, maybe it's fine. And then
Right.
later she's like, oh fuck, that's right, that was really bad.
I really hope that Abby after the show did something really nice for Ilka because
It's either that or she's got to walk away and never see her again.
kinda it's
It's
so
rough. You
tough
can-
to have objective proof of she lost the biggest competition of her life specifically because of this, and
Yeah.
it is specifically your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting watching this because it's such a similar format to Top Chef where they bring back previous contestants.
yeah.
And in this one, it was like way more probable that somebody was that's a wild card in
Yeah.
your situation because everyone's so young. Versus that one, it's like everyone's really good at just following, what
exactly.
you need to do for the menu. So they're like but I always have that worry even in Top Chef where I'm like, what if you're the one who fucks it up and you're not even competing?
And I feel like on Top Chef, they would also have the presence of mind to be like, well, as the head chef, I should have double checked the temperature the oven was at.
Sure,
it
it
does
could be
fall. The
both.
buck stops with me. I should have looked at the
Yeah.
dial. It would have taken 2 seconds.
Right.
But I
They're
think it's
used to
also really
catching
hard
that.
to being. It's hard to be like a 20-something and just be like, I don't know. I was doing my
Right.
best.
They haven't been in
Yeah.
that position
Yeah.
and they're not used to delegating. And I think Ilka, even in the past episode where they had problems with Abby, it was also her leadership and learning
Yeah.
I think they even say it in the rat session where it's like, oh yeah, she finally figured out how to I mean, that probably set her off, right? I don't know if it was
Yeah.
before or after that, but she finally was like, you know what? This is
Right.
what I'm saying. I don't care if I
Right.
hurt your feelings or if I say it too curtly, I'm not going to play
Yeah,
nice
exactly.
anymore. So
Yeah.
that's what you just learn in a kitchen over the years, I'm sure, but they haven't had those years yet.
Okay, so needless to say, Ilka gets points for crying. She just,
Oh, yeah.
because she knows. She's like it's gone.
It's a wrap.
It's like she knows
Yeah.
immediately from the first course. She's like, "There's no way you can win $500,000 with burnt tarts.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Scrape them off. We'll do our best. I know I'm not winning."
You can with
Yeah.
the soupy souffle.
That's the thing. Okay, all right. Let's talk about Andrew. What do we learn? His mom is supportive of his career because his dad died when he was 13. Okay, he has a talking head where he's like, I know I need to make more personable food and tell a story.
Yeah.
He knows. He knows it's a problem.
It's the last episode. I hope you find that out.
They spend a lot of time with him managing Sydney. Sydney has a talking head. He's like, working for Andrew kind of sucks.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think it's funny. It's like he's a hard
yeah,
boss.
Guess so. Welcome.
But Andrew, to his credit, he's like, I believe in leadership by way of like giving people the opportunity to do something. So he's like trying to let Sydney do stuff.
Right.
Andrew does catch that the peaches are not ripe. And he's like, I can't do what I wanted to do with the peaches.
He does. That's good.
So I'm going to pivot. He's like, cook them down. We're going to turn them into a marmalade.
Ooh.
He's really good. He's on top of it.
He at some point isn't London like singing and he's like, stop.
Stops
it's not
it.
time
Yeah,
to
yeah,
sing.
no singing. Yeah.
I was like,
He
damn.
runs a tight ship.
I had to rewind it to be like, was that a joke? Or like, oh, yeah, I guess he was like, no time to
No.
sing.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
there you go.
Well, I feel like you work in that many fine dining kitchens.
Right. Can't
Yeah.
be
It's-
playing around.
Yeah, it's like, don't.
And he probably knows. Yeah, because I guess, okay, so then this is maybe kind of a leadership thing that Ilka and, you know, difference between Ilka and Andrew, where it's like, you know, he's stopping it at right away. And maybe
Yeah,
she
yeah,
would
yeah.
kind of, but, you know, and we know
Right,
London.
we can sing, we can have fun.
Yeah. And I think we know you've learned these, you know, they've all worked together over the course of this whole season. So we know London sometimes he does,
Yeah.
does get distracted. Okay, great. So then
Yeah.
he's kind of nipping it at the bud, kind of harsh. But then Abby, it's like maybe if Abby were on Andrew's team, he'd be like,
Yeah.
hey, get up,
Yeah.
move faster.
Get at it. Yeah.
I don't know.
I did immediately have the thought of like, I'm sure production was like, thank you, because we also can't get the rights to that song.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because he was singing like a 50 Cent song or something.
yeah,
really?
And I'm
How
sure
funny.
production was like, that we can legally afford 10 seconds of
Yeah.
that.
Beyond that, we would have been in trouble.
He also redid the cornbread. At the end of the first day, he was
Right.
like, let me assess what needs to be done. He walks in the next morning. He's like, the first thing I want to do is redo the cornbred. I don't like it. And
Yeah.
that is the mark of a good chef. Be like,
Right.
it's not good enough.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not up to my standards.
You got to redo it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's not a great chef. He's a great
Sure,
chef.
sure, yeah. But by the rules of the competition,
yeah.
they canned him too many things. I understand. I think I wouldn't be. I'm like way more partial to him because he's on my team. If he wasn't on my team, I'd be like, what the fuck? Why is this
Sure,
guy
sure.
here?
Sure. Okay, there's not a lot to talk about Courtney's cook. Like, in contrast to Andrew's, they're like, Courtney's is the fun kitchen. Everyone's having fun.
Yeah.
The only big thing is she did not check the peaches. So she didn't catch that they were hard
know.
and not sweet. So the next day, her pivot is to grill them with some sugar on them. And that is what she sticks with. Okay, let's talk about the judging per chef, per course, because that is how I took my notes. In general, I wrote that the judges disagreed with each other a lot, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah,
It was
cool.
that long table of chefs, and a lot of times they were like, actually, I don't think that. And I was like, huh.
Cool, yeah. Subjective.
Yeah. This is, okay, I read a little, sorry, as we're recording this, America's Culinary Cup premieres tonight. And it hasn't premiered yet. We haven't seen it, but I was reading a little preview article today, and they interviewed Padma, who executive produced it. She like designed a lot of it from top to bottom. They're like, what do you want your cooking show to look like? And one of the things that she talked about is she was like, what I don't like about other cooking competition shows.
Which one?
Yeah, was like, if they, like, the judges sit there and deliberate for a long time, but they have to edit it down, right, to like 1 second. And so you don't get to see a lot of the nuance in what they think of the food. So she's like, on America's Culinary Cup, the scores are numeric.
Whoa.
She's
good,
like, it's
yeah.
a lot more like sports. Like, she's like, my dad like watched cricket and would talk about like runs and stuff like that. And she's like, that's what I want this to be like. I want there to be some measure of objectivity to be like,
Seems-
you got a 7 on this dish. You
Whoa.
got an 8 on this dish. You know what I mean?
Seems like their PR team should have responded to some emails.
Because we really could have helped them
'Cause
out
then-
here.
Yeah. If it's
Yeah.
like sports,
Yeah.
we have a show that treats it
Yeah,
like
exactly.
sports.
Yeah.
That's comforting because I think so much can be emotional and it's like the last thing you ate or like the last thing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
had and you're like, I think I liked everything. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure these judges are pretty good at discerning, but
Also, we know they're good at discerning, but there is the thing with Top Chef, right, where they kind of edit it to make it seem like there's a consensus,
Yeah.
even when it's like,
yeah.
One person disagreed hard.
yeah, like
Yeah.
or when they kind of mention how long the deliberation is,
yeah, that's
but
true.
we didn't get to see that
Right,
time.
No, yeah.
So we don't really know why it was
Yeah,
long. I think it would help to just kind of have that back and forth where it's like, well, no, because I think once again, like we're saying here, it just kind of shows the nuance that goes into this, and that it isn't just clearly one person was better than the
Right,
other.
right,
It's
right,
like
yeah.
so many different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have liked, because the judges disagreed so much in this final round, I would have loved to have seen like, well, this person scored it a 1, this person scored it a 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Average that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, Andrew, before he even serves his first dish, Kelsey reiterates, we don't want per se food out of Andrew. We want Andrew's food.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
here we go. We're
Thomas
going in.
Keller certainly is
Course
there.
1, it's his eggplant dish. He talked about his fondest memory being in his mom's backyard garden. They said it was nice and balanced. Kelsey says, quote, he's holding back from showing himself. We want to see a hug or a punch, and we some anger, some emotion, throw a pickle or a spice in there or something. So she's already like, this is not enough storytelling.
Yeah, okay.
That's all I'm going to say. Course 2 is his halibut course. They said it was missing some freshness, some vegetables. Or one judge said that, and then Grant was like, I actually feel the opposite. Ann Burrell says it's the best dish we've had so far, and who knows where this is in the serving order. Course 3 was the fajitas. This was the one they liked the most. So, like, it tastes like fajitas.
Yes,
It's
loved it.
it's technically proficient. Chef Carmichael says this is the first time I've had his cooking that felt like him. So this is the first time that we've seen him do any form of storytelling with his food, and it's in the finale in course 3 out of 4.
Right,
Yeah.
that's a little.
But they're like, good job. This is, you told us a story, you applied your skills to tell us that story. It's great job. Course 4, they did not like. This was the cornbread thing. Someone said it's like if this were a song, it's all bass notes. There's no alto. There's no soprano. The tres leches is not evident. Fundamentally, someone's like, you can't make tres leches out of cornbread. Everyone hated it.
Oof.
He fumbled the dessert. And yeah, okay. All right. Great. Okay. Courtney, course 1 was her gazpacho. She talks about being from South Carolina. They're like, it's good. Chef Carmichael thought it had too much acid. Course 2 was a carrot dish. The first time she learned to use the entirety of the vegetables working the carrot station. They loved it. They thought it was delicious and beautiful. Course 3 was her ribeye, G's up. Everyone likes the flavor. They thought it was interesting. Okay. Dr. Tim Ryan, the president of the CIA, doesn't think it blends together. Kelsey said the same thing. The elements don't make sense together. It might be too much on a plate. That's the worst criticism she gets, is this steak dish is maybe too much.
Yeah.
Course 4, her peaches and cream dish. Everyone said they loved it, aside from the fact that the peaches are not ripe.
Right.
And now it's bitter because she grilled them. Everyone's thing is like, if the peaches aren't good, don't use them, which is valid.
Yeah.
Should have made a better pivot there, and that's okay. Okay, Ilka, she serves the tarts. She's not happy with them. Everyone's like, yeah, the flavors work, but obviously the puff pastry is bad and burnt. You can't cut through it. Course 2 was her red rice risotto, inspired by her time in the South. Everyone remarks that red rice risotto is difficult to make.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Never tried to cook red rice into a
Yeah.
risotto.
Yeah.
But she pulled it off. They're like, you got to have confidence to do that. Great job. The short rib, they said that the beef was nicely cooked, buttery potatoes. You feel the emotional connection. Course 4 was the ricotta cake, based on backpacking through Western Europe. They said the truffles are really powerful, but people really like it. Okay, there is still a rat session here for the finale. They talk about them one at a time. Andrew, they said, was a consummate professional. His one mistake was that Sydney, as a sous chef, started to peter out, and Andrew sort of pushed him aside and just did a lot of the stuff himself.
Yeah.
Kelsey was like, no heart, no soul. We know you can cook. Everyone loved the dad's fajitas dish. Everything that he did well, they ended on a bummer note because they did not like the cornbread gâteau
Right.
things.
Yeah.
And the judges were like, he actually really liked the dessert. So the judges don't like the dessert, and they're like, Andrew said he really liked it.
Okay. Interesting.
Ilka, for the rat session, they said she was way more assertive in the kitchen this time. There were a few hiccups. Abby did set her back.
Oh no. Yeah.
But Ilka pivoted every time, and they love the risotto. Courtney was a joy in the kitchen. She put her heart on the plate. She has a unique POV. She needs to work on execution. She was happy with the third dish, even though the judges thought it was a little bit messy. There were some execution errors, but everyone loved her dishes. Another really weird editing thing. At this point in the episode, they insert Andrew having a talking head where he's like, I haven't really missed yet. And it's like, yes, you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
we
weird.
just watched you serve
Yeah.
raw souffle
It's like, what are you?
followed by a bad dessert.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you know? You haven't gotten the feedback yet.
Yeah. I'm really hoping he said that like in episode
Right.
1 and they just inserted it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the hubris is like off the charts.
Right.
Okay, so Andrew wins. This is the point at which I completely turn against this show.
Okay. Yeah.
This is okay.
So this is what you've been holding on to for a long
Yes.
time because you had thoughts early.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because there are
Exciting.
pots and pans who have like when I brought up the fact that I'd watched a show when it first aired last year,
Yeah.
a few pots and pans who had seen the show wrote in and we just DM'd about it. But these are my
cool.
like sort of like overarching thoughts on this show.
Yeah.
Let's set aside the cooking for 1 second, right?
Yeah.
You have a show called Next Gen Chef, and the whole pitch of the show is here's what the future of cooking looks like.
Right.
Here's what's new and different and what's going to lead us into the future.
Exactly. That's true.
That's the promise of the show. And you're going to tell me that the winner is a straight white guy who cooks the same food you've already seen at Per Se and Restaurant Boulud. That is a failure of the show.
And both chefs judged the back-to-back final 2 episodes with him in it.
Yes.
And his whole problem was not having a voice.
If your
Yeah.
2 other contestants are African American women, setting politics aside, I know Namibia, South Africa, that's not her fault. She didn't start apartheid, right? You have 2 African American women and a white guy who cooks the same fancy
Yeah.
French food we've seen a million times, and you're going to tell me he's the future voice of the culinary world?
I think-
What a fucking bummer of a show.
That's a very good
I
point.
feel like even without the white guy aspect of it, I think the main point stands is kind of what we were saying of just someone who is making food that is already good. You have someone who is just kind of lifting the food that he makes for a popular restaurant that already exists, and you have these 2 chefs who are doing things that they've admitted are hard,
Yes.
daring,
Yeah.
challenging, and hasn't really been seen. And I think
and they're not
that's-
rewarding it.
Yeah, and and
Yeah.
and throughout this, you've heard me complaining about like how much it feels like they criticize chefs for taking risks, and like you said, this is a show that's supposed to be the next generation of cooking. If anything, they should be pushing
Yeah.
up against that. And I
Exactly.
think you're right. I think when you really highlight, and to be honest, this is like the best edit. Like we have to imagine like what we're seeing is the best edit, and any worse than this, it makes it more clear that like Andrew really wasn't as far ahead. But I think what's confusing to me is why, because it definitely feels like there was a push on Andrew, and I don't get why it was there if he's not a CIA student.
Yep.
Like I don't know
Yep.
I
I don't know who is paying who to make sure that he wins, but this feels rigged.
Sure. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, I just assume it's his pedigree of like these bosses. So everybody's like, oh, well, these is kind of even if
that's
it's not
against the mission of the show.
Yeah, even
Well,
if it's not. I mean,
This
that's
is
just
a
who
real
he's
like
been.
don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Like don't
Right.
tell me this is the future of food if you're just going to pick the same. Okay, so,
Right.
so that's one half of the argument is just like setting aside the food. It's a bummer. Now
yes.
talking about
That's
the
good.
food. If the only Ilka is not going to win. She got burnt tarts. That's Abby's fault. It's not her fault, but she's not going to win, right?
Yeah.
If the only knock against Courtney is that her 3rd course was a little messy, but they really liked everything else,
Which
and the
also-
knock against Andrew's food is he fucked up dessert. 1/4 of his meal they did not like, and the other 2/4 of his meal they're like, there's no story here. Why is he winning over Courtney, who told a story and by all accounts did 4 great plates of food?
Yeah. Well, also, I was going to say, I don't feel like the messiness should have been as big of a knock as it had been.
Exactly,
because
I agree.
Based on the dish, based on the inspiration of a dish, that isn't a neat dish.
Yeah.
It would be like if you went to like Old May in Austin, which is Amanda's place, which
Yeah.
does this like elevated Southern food. And,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, this isn't as neat as you expect fine dining. It was like, yeah, because
It takes
what
its inspiration
yeah.
from an inherently not neat
Right.
cuisine.
Yeah, exactly. So it just felt very like
Racist?
we need,
I'll say it. Felt racist.
not even that, but like I feel like there's like if the fix was already in, they needed to find like it felt nitpicky.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
agree.
needed to like okay, we're gonna find
Right, yeah, which
like the
they-
ways we can at least have some criticisms because if we don't say this, then there are no criticisms of
Yeah.
this person we're not going to choose to win.
Yeah.
And then it does bring me back to the beginning of this episode where it's like, okay, now I think it might be a problem of having someone that you work for
Yes.
on the judging committee.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, yeah, obviously
That's
you're going to
huge.
want
You're
the
cooking
person-
that guy's style of food.
Yeah, that's
He's
huge.
going to score it high.
I mean, I do think like this goes to this is like kind of the emblem. It feels very like dated like that, but we kind of have like a whole rebound right where we're going back in time. But it does feel very like whenever people were trying to kind of get trying to get white people on board with like and this could apply to more than just white people, of course, but it's like when you're trying to get someone on board with the fact that there is like systemic racism and not just like, how,
Right,
when
yeah,
someone's
yeah.
mean to you for your
Right,
race.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, there are things that, people don't even realize are doing. And like, this is one of them where it's like, well, he got hired at those restaurants. I wonder why. I wonder how he was able to get hired at those restaurants. And then sure, he did great when he was there, and that's hard to do. But then, then it kind of reminds those judges at the table of their cooking
Well,
and how
that's-
they came up. And yeah.
Exactly. I was gonna say even just kind of like the more kind of nefarious of that, where it's not even all of that, but more so just kind of your latter point, where if you're making something very familiar to the panel,
Right, and all of them
Then-
are high
because-
up
Yeah,
because
yeah.
why?
I mean, think about it, right? It's like when we talk about, beauty standards, right? Where it's like, oh, when you have like a very Eurocentric view of
Right,
beauty,
exactly.
your beauty standards are kind of like the floor on that. So like if you're in, like America's Next Top Model, you'll have the
You have to conform to that
yeah,
standard of beauty.
Exactly. And you have
Yeah.
like the people of color
Right,
who
right.
have like, pressed or relaxed hair to look more like
Mm-hmm,
white hair, and their natural hair, and the ones with the press relax go further
Right,
because
right,
it's
right.
going based on that. And I think similarly with food, if your baseline, if you have a whole bunch of chefs who are from these like kind of pretty classic
Yep.
fine dining
Yep,
experience,
yep.
that is the baseline, and that's why they would look at something Courtney makes and go, that's messy. But it's like you didn't take the time to be like, oh, but based on what she's touching on and tapping into, it should be.
And also, it's like, yeah, everything you just said, yes. And then also, like, if this were any other cooking show and you're like, we're going to reward the guy who's doing the fine dining, French inflected, whatever, I'm like,
Right,
sure.
okay.
But again, you titled the show Next Gen Chef. You're like, here's what the future is going to look like. And the message you're sending is the future is the fucking same thing it's been for the last 3,000 years.
Right.
Yeah.
The next
Go
gen,
fuck yourself.
The next gen's looking
Well,
pretty white now.
It's so interesting because it really, like, if we're going into, me, I'm always finding the beef, the seeing in between the lines, because I'm like, there also is a world, and now we're into like
Tinfoil hat conspiracy.
yes
Oh.
level where in production, CIA, with how much of their fingerprints were on it, kind of were like, hey, we're not saying it should be a CIA person that wins, but we would like to see that.
But Andrew was not a CIA guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And Netflix is like, no, fuck that. And so because if you think of Andrew, he's the one who didn't go to any of the culinary schools.
Oh,
He's
they
going
think
to-
he's the punk rock
Yeah,
option?
yes.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
exactly. They were kind of building him that way,
yeah.
and I feel like because then it puts a whole new color on the CIA post we looked at last time, where it's like we're giving Sydney
Yeah,
another
yeah.
shot. This is our CIA alum, and look how good he
No,
does.
I'm not engaging with that conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
yes. I
The
love it.
I do think like going back to your first criticism of the show itself, like it's something about the fact that they really just kind of took. I mean, it feels very Top Chef-y. Like they took that model and placed it on these younger people. So it's almost like Top Chef, but for people who aren't as good as the Top Chef contestants.
People who have worked at one restaurant as opposed to 20.
So it's almost like, they should have picked a lane where it's like, are you trying to find somebody who's really good at being a leader? Or maybe you do like one episode about leadership and maybe you do one episode about finding your voice. And by the
Right.
end, you're finding your voice. But like I don't know, every time it kind of mixed everything.
Yeah,
I think
And-
that's a really
yeah.
good criticism on top of that too. Yeah, where it's like if in this type of like competition show, right? It is, and you're also having it at a like culinary school. You would think there would be more kind of like, this is teaching you all the kind of things you need to be the next gen chef.
Yeah.
These are the things we're looking
Right.
for to say, and I think you're right. It was kind of just like Top Chef, just with a younger group of people, and then we were seeing a lot of things that we've commented on throughout this season of stuff where it's like, oh, this seems like a mistake, like not tasting your food, I
Yeah.
feel like
Right,
that's
right.
they're-
I know it sounds like I'm going to shill for America's Culinary Cup. They're not paying us anything. They should.
yeah, they should.
But this is part of the structure they were talking about that's going to be in America's Culinary Cup is like every episode is testing one of the 10 like they're calling like culinary commandments, which is like innovation or
Oh,
like
cool.
knife
Being
skills
more-
or grilling. I don't even know what it. But you know what I mean? It's like every episode's like, here's the theme of the challenge.
Cool.
And it would have been like, these are younger chefs. Let's see how good your XYZ is. You know what I mean?
Right, because I would think because it was all over the place, it's like we couldn't really place why people weren't doing well. Like I think since we're we're really reviewing this a lot because this is our show, but it's like, a lot of the mistakes maybe could have been like, it's like, how do you attribute that? Is it really that they can't cook? No, honestly, it's because there's like a lot of shit going on and they didn't, know that. And maybe, maybe for the final thing, instead, they should have just given them like a staff of extremely like senior people.
Right.
So
the instructors should have
could
been the sous chefs.
Yeah. So that could be like completely eliminated as part of their issue because it's not even their problem that like Abby hasn't really worked in a kitchen before, it's really not at that point. It should just be about them and like what they've learned up to this point rather than, also this is Next Gen Chef. So everyone's like 22. So let's throw them back in the kitchen.
Even then, what we're talking about is like how to design the show. But I think part of my issue is like the execution is like even the rules they set for themselves, which is like you have to tell a story with this challenge. They're not holding anyone accountable to that. Or like the challenge is to make a souffle, and then they just don't give a shit about how well you do the souffle. It's like there is also something to be said for how they are executing the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they're like, here's the rules, and then you don't play by the rules, and they're like, well, who gives a shit? You win anyway, and it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I see that.
Right. So it's like, are they hiding that from us, or are they just like, there's something about pushing this guy through? I mean, what if it is a thing where it's like, dude, Thomas Keller's going to be here tomorrow, and like, he really wants to see his son. He said he'd only show up if Andrew's here. So
yeah, I don't know. This show is fucking rigged. I like the idea of it. I really hope they bring it back for season 2, and I just hope they do it right because it's like it is a cool idea to be like, let's do Top Chef Junior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's do Top Chef for kids who are like 20 to 30, not like children. You know what I mean? Like people who are like 20 to 30, who's going to be the next generation, who's going to lead us in the future, but then actually do that.
Yeah.
Like, be like, tell me a story. And if they tell a story, great. And if they don't, they're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard.
And we're always, as viewers, we're always way more interested in their personality, their story, their background. Like, if whether or not they screw up because they, didn't taste the thing, like that feels like, yes, I know that's important in culinary
It's a cooking
world.
show, sure.
I understand. But yeah, I feel like that's most exciting and then could make your show so much more popular because you're going to have this star come out of the show.
That's what I'm saying.
Have an awesome restaurant that like
Can
all
you
the young
imagine
kids
how
want to go
fucking
to.
cool it would be if Courtney won a show called Next Gen Chef, and it's like, great, this young black woman won this $500,000 prize. She has her own restaurant now, and it's like, nope, here's a one-season Netflix show, and they gave it to a white guy who cooks French food, and it's like, what are we doing here, you guys?
It's like, are we gonna go to his restaurant? I don't know. And
again, I'm not saying he's not talented. Yeah. He's clearly a very talented chef, but it's just like
he's also like he would have been fine either way.
He would have been fine.
That's the reality.
He's gonna do okay. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I could really rally about this forever, but we're now in minute 56 of this podcast. Courtney cries during her talking head, and we saw Ilka cry earlier, so they both get the crying point. Courtney, Ilka, and Andrew each get 1 point for making it to the finale. The sous chefs who get drafted in the finale each get 2 points. That's Nikki, Javonica, Joaquin, Abby, London, and Sydney. And the winner of Next Gen Chef is Andrew. He gets 3 points, unfortunately. So at the end of this episode, somehow I gained 6 points just from having a bunch of sous chefs drafted. Iffy, you only gain 5 points.
Yeah.
And Sierra, you gain 8 points. So we are ending the season with me in last place at 19.5. I get to draft first for Top Chef. Thank you very much. Guys, this is how close it is. Iffy, you ended the season with 30.5 points. Sierra, you won with 31 points.
Oh.
You won by a half a point.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I needed more tears. I need more
Honestly,
tears.
that would have been it.
Honestly,
It's one tier.
If Abby felt any remorse,
Wait, no, I have Abby.
never mind. Good job, Abby.
Or conversely, if one of those chefs could have held it in and not cried.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
You came that close to winning. Or
Damn.
tying, I guess, technically.
Good thing I didn't get Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's our season. Is there anything else we want to say about the show? I do hope it comes back. I just hope the next season is more optimistic than a white guy is the future of the culinary world.
Well, it's not even like I don't even mind a white guy. But
Sure,
it's like,
sure. No, I agree. I agree.
A
Yeah, yeah.
different
The
kind
You're
of
right,
lie.
you're right.
Yeah.
Like it should and I think it really comes from a place of people who like once again spend too much money on food. But it's like what's exciting to me, what would look exciting as the future is someone who's doing something that that we haven't seen, or
Exactly.
like taking a
Right,
spin,
right.
or bringing flavors,
Yeah.
and not someone who's just kind of copy pasting their
Yes,
boss.
exactly.
Because that's
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem is
Yeah.
like. That isn't the next generation. That's your boss,
Yeah.
which is the current generation.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think we're kind of placing on Andrew this thing that we've just seen a lot before, which is like, the person who kind of, is going on the regular tracks, and that's what those tracks are for. But the show
Yeah,
feels
they're
like
great
it should
tracks.
be.
Yeah, yeah.
The show is like, wow, once in a lifetime chance to do something very different, and
Yes.
who might not succeed in maybe that traditional
Yes,
track should
exactly.
maybe get to succeed here. And I think
Yes.
that's what
No,
we're
but
placing
they're
on
like,
him.
hey, more of the same. That's what the next gen
Sure.
is. Same.
But yeah, I mean, I think it could be, just kind of like even in Top Chef, like I think the thing about Top Chef that makes it work right is like they kind of have corrected all these other little tidbits that they learn by being older and more experienced, and it is just so exciting when there is even like a exciting different chef, and they could be a white guy. There are plenty of white guys who have won
Sure.
Top Chef that are
Yes.
very exciting,
Yeah.
and they're the most we love when they win because it's like, oh my god, that is like the new thing, and they're like on a different
They're
plane.
doing something new and
Yeah.
interesting and
Yeah.
different. They have a POV.
that- yeah,
Andrew fundamentally
we always
lacked a
love
POV.
that.
That was his criticism
Yes,
the whole
exactly.
season, and somehow they didn't care.
Well, it's
Right.
and I think why it feels so frustrating you too is that is one of the core tenets of fine dining.
Yeah.
Every time you go fine dining, you are sitting next to someone who is explaining to you exactly
Yes,
why
exactly.
this meal, this
Sure.
dish was made,
Yeah.
the inspiration behind it, the story behind it, and to say that person who didn't have it and I think what made it exacerbate even more is seeing someone like Courtney who really
Did
had
have a story.
and
Hardcore
wrote,
had story
like,
every
G's
time.
Up
That's
is just
true. Yeah.
so creative
Yeah.
and heartfelt and tongue-in-cheek,
Yeah.
and it's like that is what you would
Yes,
expect to
exactly.
be a winning dish.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like she was deeply flawed in other areas.
No.
That meant that she
Her peaches
couldn't.
were hard,
Yeah.
and her dish was "quote unquote" messy. That's the biggest knock.
Yeah.
Right.
And
she
you
was
straight
a
up
good,
didn't like Andrew's
she
dessert.
was a
Get
good
outta
leader.
here.
Yeah, she was a good leader in the kitchen. We had seen throughout the
Yeah.
season, and her kitchen's more enjoyable to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I
yeah,
think is
yeah,
always
yeah,
a
exactly. That's the
great
other thing.
plus.
People
Yeah.
liked working for her.
Yeah.
That to me is also a mark of the next gen chef.
That's
is like
true.
you're a leader who people actually want to work for.
Right, right. The yesteryear is like the abusive boss. Not that it's Andrew's abuse, but
No,
the
no,
like
I'll argue.
displeasant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
Okay.
allowed to sing in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
out
I'll
of
argue.
here.
Yeah, the displeasant boss who says no, you can't do that. But yeah, so that is true. Interesting.
All right. Well, Netflix, do right by us.
Yeah.
You've done it before. Have I ever talked about Outlast on this show?
No.
Outlast was a
wait, yes.
a wilderness survival show.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just say this quickly. I feel like I have said this. There's a wilderness survival show on Netflix, and in season 1, you can tell very quickly, like half the contestants quit because they're like, "Oh, this is not the show I signed up
Yes.
for." It's like people being assholes in the wilderness. Like we stole their sleeping bags, they'd freeze to death,
Oh,
and it's like
no.
that's not. And half the people just
Yeah.
quit. By the end of episode 3, there's only assholes left, and no one. It was a bad season of television.
Whoa.
It came back for season 2. They kind of fixed it. They're
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Hey, you
Yeah,
can't be an
actually, I do
asshole
remember
this
okay,
time."
no assholes.
Yeah.
So they wanted them to be assholes the first season.
No, no, no.
Oh no, it just happened
The
to read them
the
out
problem
that
was
way.
the only rule on Outlast was you have to be part of a team, and they're like, other than that, like you can't win alone. You have to be part of a team to win.
Okay.
Other than that, you can do whatever you want. And then they cast assholes who are like, whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And so they decide to be assholes, and then I think they fixed in season 2 by just being like, don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Right,
That's all.
right.
That's the other
Okay.
rule.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay,
Anyway, so
it's
Netflix, if
possible.
you can outlastify Next Gen Chef, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well
all right.
said.
Thank you again so much for all of you listening along at home and taking this journey with us here at TV Chef Fantasy League. Next Gen Chef is done, but we just started Top Chef Carolinas, so please tune in for that if you're not already on board. Tell your friends about our podcast. Rate us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're using. If for some reason you are doing a Next Gen Chef Fantasy League at home, you can tag us in your league at TV Chef Fantasy League on Instagram. But more likely you're going to watch us do Top Chef right now. So thank you for doing that and tagging us there. We are at TV Chef Fantasy League on Instagram or chef@maximumfun.org if you'd rather email us. You can see our faces on YouTube and we have merch at maxfunstore.com. Thank you again, my co-hosts here, Kato and Iffy Wadiwe. Tune in this Friday for more Top Chef Carolinas. TV Chef Fantasy League is a Maximum Fun production. Our producer is Valerie Moffat. Our engineer is Gabe Mara. Our theme song is by Dylan Van Auken. Our artwork is by Sabrina Volante. Please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TV Chef Fantasy League.